I've watched a lot of Christmas films this year. That's maybe an understatement. But unquestionably, Hearts of Christmas is the one that made me cry the most and cry the hardest. It's beautiful. This was released in 2016 and it's directed by Monika Mitchell and written by J.B. White and stars Emilie Ullerup as our protagonist Jenny Miller. And what I particularly loved about this, first of all, there are at least two characters in this that I loved, but I also love the narrative. So I'm not going to spoil it, but I will read out the description from IMDb, which is, yes, this is spoiler free. When Jenny plans a Christmas retirement party for her beloved hospital supervisor, she butts heads with Matt, a new manager determined to cut costs. So basically, this is filmed in a maternity ward. Jenny looks after babies who are born prematurely, as does her supervisor, Alice. And to cut costs, a few people are being let go, and Alice is one of those people. And you can tell straight away that Alice is such a warm, likeable person. She's been the heart of this maternity ward or maternity hospital for a very long time. She's played by Sharon Lawrence, and her performance was so moving and so emotional, and the source of many of my tears. I absolutely loved her in this. But Jenny is obviously very angered about this and tries to get Matt, played by Kristoffer Polaha, to change his mind. And obviously he can't, cuts have to be made. So Jenny focuses her energy onto planning this retirement party, and she has a few surprises up her sleeve. Meanwhile, she spends more time with Matt and begins to change her opinion about him. So the fact that this is against the backdrop of the maternity hospital is wonderful, because I haven't seen a Christmas film like this, and I thought it was a wonderful setting. Really heightened the emotions, because you're dealing with a lot of children who are premature, they're not maybe in the best of health, their parents are emotional. It just really plucks at every single heartstring, and it does it so effectively. I didn't really cry buckets until near the end, when there were some very moving speeches. But the narrative development is great. It gets a little bit slow paced in the middle, and Jenny as a protagonist, I kind of could have taken her left. She was alright, she didn't irritate me, but I wasn't really that bothered about her. For me, definitely this is Alice's story. Even though we're following Jenny's story, it's definitely more about Alice and what she's brought to a lot of the people in the surrounding area. I don't have any complaints about this. It has a really nice soundtrack. The Christmas music tinkling in the background is really nice, and it's very well acted. I like the pacing of it, apart from, as I said, that little bit in the middle that felt just a little bit slow. But for me, it's one of the most emotional Christmas films, but really heartwarmingly emotional, not depressingly emotional, so it works on every level for me. I definitely recommend this film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I watched it on Amazon Prime, and I completely think it's worth it. It is brilliant. It's a unique narrative compared to the other Christmas films I've been watching this year, and as I said, there are many of them. It's probably one of my top 20 out of the Christmas films I've watched this year. Maybe top 10. Either way, Hearts of Christmas is one I definitely recommend.